Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to a scene for Empire of Thrones, Thorns, whatever. So the trial has happened, passed, all that drama is over. Um, a couple of members of the Autumn Court have stuck around. The Paladin of Shadows, Dr. William Morgan, um, and Sebastian, a newer returned lost that Dr. Morgan had picked up. Joined by them was Soren, who is of right now courtless, but apparently is growing warm to this place, ironically. But Dr. Morgan had called for and asked for Queen Mir to grant him an audience. When she chooses to honor that, he has no idea. Maybe today, maybe next week. He doesn't know. So he settled down to talk with the other two while he waits for the Hob to get back to answer when the Queen will see them.
Lord Scrivener is also in the room. He hasn't left. That would be the antiquarian that you were talking to previously, Soren.
So if you had questions, Soren, now you can ask.
So Soren's mind has been kind of working since the whole affair had ended, and he'll just say, "Okay, so we need to transition to power. That much is known.
Mm-hmm.
But we also need a second transition to power. Okay, what is stopping these two things from happening at the same time?"
The king needs to be present at the solstice. It requires the four monarchs being there.
Which he can't do if he isn't officially crowned. Is that what I'm understanding?
I mean, he's been officially crowned. It just cements his power.
Either way, he can't be there without first cementing his power?
I mean, he could be.
But that would fly in the ways of tradition. Okay. When is homecoming typically held?
Homecoming is held, as I understand it, don't quote me on it though, on
Okay.
the eve that it's held when the monarch returns.
When the... Okay. And when
Homecoming. And he kind of rolls his hand like homecoming.
Right.
Best part. I've been to homecoming before. This is the best part. Are you ready? It's literally a homecoming dance. It's a homecoming. They've tried. They have tried so hard to break away from that tradition. They try to stylize it as so many other things, but it is always like a homecoming dance, complete with the resplendent dresses and the awkward suits and everything.
As well as the teenage angst, Soren says nostalgically.
Apparently,
Lord Scrivener is humming a song that all of you seem to remember from high school dances.
wow.
Man, Sebastian
Wow.
does not remember. That shit is older than is younger than
You're
Sebastian.
Sadie Hawkins dancing over there, okay? You're over there, Beatles.
Sebastian was taken 50 years ago. He does not remember. He never heard that song.
Do we know when the Spring King's homecoming is exactly?
Yes, it was on the night of the solstice.
It's on the night of the solstice when...
Queen Mir needs to acquiesce the power to Queen Cerise.
Okay, so the Autumn Court needs to pick a champion, correct?
Yes.
Does it have to be a member of the Autumn Court?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
What happens if it
Does it?
isn't?
Is this the year we find out? He'll kind of look at your character like...
Yeah, okay, hold on. hold on. Let me do the thing. As he kind of just tries to remember back to some of the old books that he had kind of read over since his time being back. Oh boy, he's got 4.
The champion of the court must be of the court, and they cannot be courtless.
Okay.
And it usually needs to be one of the stronger members of the court.
Okay, so that means that the king can't just be the champion for the Autumn Court.
No.
That rules that out.
Not without joining the Autumn Court, which he can't do.
Right.
And right now, his goodwill is waning.
Mm-hmm. And so, it seems like the Winter Court is worried about this happening on the same day because... As he kind of just waits for an answer. I mean, Soren in the back of his head, he remembers the Queen saying it would make them look weak, which he doesn't really understand, but...
He'll hold his hands up like, yeah, it's lost on me, I don't know.
Okay. So... Wait a second. Johnny, I'm going to roll to see if there was ever a precedent for something like this in any of the tomes he's ever read through.
Yep, go ahead.
Any penalty?
No.
Okay. It's 2.
Okay. There was precedent, and what they did is unseated the throne. They overthrew the court. It was one time they had a situation where the spring court came back on the same day as the summer court rise to power, and the summer court just overthrew him and installed a new monarch.
Okay, Soren will just say, well, the last time this happened, that particular court, which was not spring, they just removed theirs, and I don't think that's much of an option at the moment.
Dear
So,
God, you'd make Claudio Donati's Christmas come early.
yeah.
I don't think I'd be able to handle the joy that man would express. Does he even have the ability to smile that wide?
Yes. Soren says matter-of-factly.
Does the champion
Go on.
does the champion choose the trial just before the trial takes place, or is there time to prepare before?
They're given some time to prepare.
All
Normally the given time is about a fortnight.
right. So, this is going to be another
Again,
crazy
Winter
thing,
Court
but...
that will control what the challenge is.
Alright, then another crazy idea of mine.
Yeah.
Think it's possible to have 3 challengers and have this whole solstice transition period be a homecoming event. Almost like the homecoming football game. You know, like in high school and whatnot. That way,
So
Spring Court can engage in festivities, and they can center this whole event around the certain competition. And the king doesn't necessarily have to win this. But even if he does, you said before that they would just set 2 more weeks and the new challenge would happen. Either way, the king's power has been cemented. The transition still happens, and the Spring Court gets their monarch's power cemented.
So, you mean kind of like the Spring Court tailgates the Winter Courts football game.
Yes.
If you told them that you were holding a tailgating party, they might actually go for that. Those crazy bastards.
Should I bring this up to the king later tonight?
Probably to Malik.
Malik. Okay.
Currently, Malik has been tasked with figuring this out.
All right. Bring it to him.
I know he's vying for the Winter Court emissary position.
Sweet.
Why
Then
has that position sat empty for so long? It's been 2 years now.
You mean the position of archive? Yeah, that's...
No, not archive. The emissary to the Winter Court. I mean, archive has sat empty since spring, since Cerise. Not Cerise. I'm sorry. Since Alcine fell. And no wonder they're so cagey with them having had their monarch fall in the first place. Hmm.
I don't quite know either. But then again, I just showed up here.
Oh, but you've proven yourself so capable.
And just Sebastian will say if a party is held, maybe something can be done to influence the courts and the champion to what the trial they will choose.
It all depends on who they choose. In the past, they've chosen... I know Eric DeRaven was the champion. And then it was the... why do they keep their positions so hush-hush? I can't remember what they're called. It's a squat woman. They'll kind of like sit there and think for a moment.
Intelligence loss lore?
Intelligence occult, if that would work.
Yeah. Wait, is this... Oh, see, is this a case of Will not remembering, or is this a case of ST not remembering?
ST remembers.
Okay, then intelligence occult?
Yes.
Okay. He's got 2.
Okay. The only person that you've seen so far in the Winter Courts who would be considered like squat, and what he's probably mentioning is the Sun Banisher. That's who he's probably talking about.
You mean the Sun Banisher?
That one. Her.
Okay.
He'll look at his watch, although he fully accepts that the Queen is making him wait this long to find out when she's going to meet with him. It's also like, hurry up! Not for the Queen herself, just for the drudge that he sent.
And about this time, as he's looking at his watch, there is a quiet voice from a corner that nobody happens to be facing. And Mir says, "Have I been keeping you waiting too long, dear pal?"
He'll kind of flick his eyes over to her. I just wanted
Soren
to know.
is startled. Soren
That's kind of what he does.
is startled.
Yeah, he'll kind of look over at her, looking up from his wrist, and he'll say, "I just wanted to know the time."
She smiles. It is 8 o'clock precisely.
Can you see my watch from here, or did you just guess?
I knew.
He's covering his watch. Really?
She nods.
It's 8:01.
No.
I'll wink at her.
He smiles. Did we just have somebody in? Oh, it was a second 10. Got you.
Yeah, no, I got kicked for a second.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Mir kicked you. Scared you right the fuck out the chat. Yeah, he'll smile at her.
Okay.
My dear queen, most reverend monarch, I have a question.
Of course.
Who are you selecting as your champion this year?
It just stands to note that as soon as he's in the Queen's presence, Soren kneels. Soren has never knelt to anybody.
Wholly appropriate.
He's kneeling, like in her presence.
She'll smile in your direction and nod slightly, and she'll kind of extend her hand and wave you up, but doesn't say anything.
Will has been sitting backwards in his chair. He'll kind of like get up, spin the chair around, give it like 2 turns, and sit down in it facing the right way.
Yeah.
Kind of fold his hands over his knees politely.
As Soren
And
is
smile at
commanded to stand up, he stands up and stays silent.
Yeah, he gives her a respectful smile. Where Draven yesterday with the Queen was being very like flippant and kind of rude, it just seems more like Dr. Morgan's just being like just he's being respectful, but he's also a high member of the court, so
I'd say well, she would have bowed at least. Sebastian would have bowed, so it looks, and would have gotten up afterwards. He would have stayed bowed till someone would have told him to get up.
Mir looks at Will and basically says, I have no doubt that Silent Arrow will, of course, choose something appropriate to their legacy of stealthiness. I had been considering asking you if you would say, but
as long as they don't choose my demented stepson as their paladin or their champion again, because last year he shivers. He fought low.
She nods. She says,
Sebastian will smile when she mentions stealth.
She says, duly noted. I shall check with Cerise and see if she has submitted any plans yet. Was there anything else in particular that you wanted to see me?
You haven't met these two yet.
I have not.
And I thought it would be appropriate that they were introduced to his queen, and he'll point at Soren, and he'll say,
She looks in your direction and she smiles slightly, which is still kind of creepy on a dead girl's face. And she says, Soren, Sebastian, welcome. Yeah, I know. Nobody told her your names.
This is a fellow Darkling. Soren accepts this.
She's a creepy little girl. They know stuff.
Tilts his head forward. Still not quite speaking yet because he's not sure if he has that permission yet.
She'll seem to she'll seem to pick up on your not being certain of things, and she'll say, this is not a formal meeting.
Oh, then very well, Your Majesty.
he'll wiggle out of his coat, then and put it on the back of his chair.
I thank you for extending your welcome to myself and Sebastian.
It is an honor to meet you, and he will look to the rest and the rest of this noble court.
She nods and says, "It is my privilege as the ruling monarch to welcome. I am sorry that we have not been as diligent in recovering the newly returned as we ought, but I am pleased to see that our brethren of the Spring Court have picked up the slack, should we say." And yeah, by the way, I know Johnny likes to do kids that aren't precocious and whatever, but she
She ain't
definitely
no child. What the fuck?
Mir speaks with wisdom and age that belies her apparent.
Soren will tilt his head kind of low again and say, Your Majesty, I feel that an apology is in order. I did not mean to be the cause of a disruption of such serious business such as that, and while it was not my intent to do so, it happened anyway, and for that, I am truly sorry.
She nods. She says, "It is the purpose of leadership and the burden of a leader that such things come to my door on a regular basis. It is not your fault in any way. They must land somewhere. Better that they have a designated place."
Thank you.
Will kind of look over her and tilt his head and say, "What I'm gathering from this is I'm not doing my job."
I in no way meant such a. What brings you to that conclusion?
Well, Spring Court is collecting all of our
No,
loss.
you are not my only servant.
Really?
No,
Kind of. His face is like, really?
I shall have to direct those of the rest of my court to be more active in their roles.
We are the court in power right now. It is understandable that we might be stretched a bit thin.
This is so.
And I think Spring thrives on the joy of the newly returned.
She looks, her eyes flicker to Soren almost immediately. And she says, "I see little of it. I see a great deal more fear."
If I may, I must state that before I got here, I felt hope and fear. And when I got here, I was afraid. I was in an unknown place at an unknown time, and well,
Many
it
of
was.
you. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, he was just gonna say, it was only through my efforts to understand my new change in life that the fear began to reside.
Many of the newly returned.
And he'll say, use that fear. You will use that fear as a weapon, my friend.
Mir's smile widens slightly, and she shows teeth. It's not entirely a friendly-looking smile, but she obviously understands and I guess agrees with what Sebastian's saying.
He'll point at Soren and he'll say, if he does not decide to flow into the autumn, I'm pretty much going to immediately ask that he be vetted into the Dread Esquires.
It would be... It's not a process that can be sped too greatly. But if he continues in his respectful and friendly way with our court, he could perhaps earn the goodwill of the throne. And in so doing, Perhaps one day he may become a Jedi. But, and she'll turn back to Soren and say, have you considered which, if any, of the courts you wish to join?
I have, Your Majesty. I was first brought in by the Spring Court, and so I do have many friends there, but there's a certain resonance about this place that I do feel akin to.
The resonance follows us here in our season. You will likely feel very well at home in Staten as well. If you would wish to join our court, then I encourage you to learn more of us and to study us. And when you have decided that the time is right, we shall evaluate.
Very well then. Thank you, Your Majesty.
She'll turn towards Sebastian, and she'll say, you, on the other hand, have devoted yourself already to the Autumn Cause.
She'll say, yeah, I spent the little time I have been back. Yeah, she'll say, I'll spend the little time I've had being back in this world, looking at the courts, and Chaos Manga we use fear as a weapon. And this means we use the one thing that everyone feels. If one does not feel fear, then he is a fool and therefore is not a threat. If he is a threat, then he fears, and there is something we can use against him. And he smiles.
Correct. Most perceptive. Very few so freshly returned have such a great grasp of fear. But have you learned the value of your own fear? Have you learned the lessons that it would teach you?
He'll say, yeah, I am still learning this, that the fear that was used on me can be used as a great weapon if I do not, and his thinking is not exactly overcome them, but more remember them, so I can use it with more ease.
You have an interesting nature about you. I wonder at where the weird will take you as you develop.
Sorry, what was that? I didn't get all of that.
I'm sorry. She said, you have an interesting nature about you. I wonder where the weird will take you as you develop.
He'll smile and goes, that is for fate to decide.
Even so. She'll look back to Will,
Smile at her.
and she'll bow slightly to him. Say, does my paladin have further meeting?
He'll reach into the pocket of his coat, and he'll pull something out, and he'll hold it up to her.
Okay.
It's like a doll, but its hair is like tangled, and it's dirty. Like it's been like brushed off, but it's like dirty. Its little dress has like little stains on it, and he'll smile.
She smiles broadly, and she'll, in a heartbeat, the poised, composed queen becomes a little girl again. And she dashes over and scoops the doll up in a big hug. And then she will take the doll under one arm and proceed to wrap Will in a big hug.
He'll pull her close and kiss her forehead.
Where did you find Emily?
I told you I would.
You did.
She was very close to the southern tunnels.
She looks at the doll and she says, "Now you mustn't wander. It's not fair of you to make me send poor Will after you again and again."
But you know I always will.
She smiles and bows, and then she'll actually lean up and give him a kiss on the cheek.
He'll lean into it very softly, and then he'll kind of put her down and say, "If it pleases your majesty, I will gladly serve as your paladin." He'll wave his hand. Sorry, your champion.
She smiles and she says, I may yet use you in such a way."
We'll give her a nod.
She turns towards the two of you and she says, "Gentlemen," and she bows slightly towards you.
Your Majesty, and he bows
Yeah.
very, very deeply.
Yeah. Sebastian will bow lower, very low, and he'll.
Okay. As the two of you stand up, she's already stood up. As the two of you stand up, and for a split second, you swear the doll winks at you. One of its little button eyes winks. And she smiles and says, "I bid you farewell." Mir says so, and she leaves.
Hey, Soren, do me a favor.
Okay.
You need a wits empathy roll.
A what?
A wits empathy.
Just
Is
him?
this?
And
Is this-
you'll actually get 2 bonus die.
Does
I will? Okay.
Nelson can get it, but he's getting it for another reason, which I'll explain to him later. If he succeeds at it. If you don't, then sorry.
Here's one.
1. Okay. Nelson, what'd you get? I don't think it needs to be 3. Yay! I don't think it needs to be pointed out that the monarch and the Fey touched mortal had a bond.
Oh, yeah. Is that what the roll is for?
Yes.
something more for the monarch and vassal?
Yes. It seemed as though their bond is closer than monarch and vassal.
It makes sense. I mean, Soren was able to put it all together with the way that Will was a tad less formal than. Even though he is a paladin of shadows, he theoretically would have to hold some form of etiquette. But that seemed to be a little gone, so Soren was able to figure that out.
Now let me ask you a question.
Huh?
What would be the role to make a connection?
Intelligence investigation.
Okay.
Are you telling me to roll that?
Yep.
And Nelson had 3 successes, didn't you?
Yeah, but he wouldn't have the ability to put this one together because it's something that Will specifically told his character, Soren.
Okay.
Oh, buddy. Thanks to the antiquarian bonus,
dear
3
Lord.
of these are rerolls.
Oh my
Okay.
god.
It's 3 successes.
You got 3 successes. I'm gonna tell you afterwards, okay? I'm gonna tell
Okay.
you like in private.
Okay. I
don't want it like public on screen.
I feel you.
So, we'll end our scene there if you guys are okay with that.
I'm cool with that.
You cool with that, Nelson?
Yep.
Okay. So, thank you players for players, and thank you watchers for watching, and all that good stuff. Bye!